Hey guys, another quick video. So far I've only been showing how to save VDBs from tyFlow Zenith, and now I want to show you that it's also possible to load those. So if I create one tyFlow right here, open the editor, create a birth inferno. So when you simulate a Zenith simulation, you can, by default it gets cached to the RAM cache, but you can also export it to VDBs using the export inferno operator here, and then load it back using recall VDB data which would be stored in the RAM cache, or loading VDB data which would not take up space in the RAM cache. It would be read from the disk every time that you change the frame. And also, so if you switch to this, you can load the files from the export inferno operator, or you can load the files from a specified path. So in this case, we can load VDBs that are created from Zenith, or we can load just any VDBs, for example, like the Disney Cloud. Here it is. So let me just change it a bit because it's a bit black. So let me make it appear more cloud-like. I'm gonna change the color of the smoke here. I'm gonna override the color, make it whiter, and also in the illumination I'm gonna switch to Rayleigh scattering, increase it to 40, like this. Maybe also adjust the ambient occlusion a little, so I'm just gonna increase the distance without going too high, because otherwise it's gonna start getting slow. So we can load VDBs like this. I can also use a VDB to actually initialize the solver. So here in the birth inferno, by default it's initializing new grids, so it just creates new sparse cubes for the simulation. But you could also initialize from a VDB. So if I browse and pick like this same Disney Cloud right here, you'd be able to also remap the names of the channels that you need. And also so by default everything's fine. I'm just gonna use the default names. They are cool. I'm gonna switch the Inferno recall to RAM cache mode, and now if I refresh, we start the simulation with the Disney Cloud loaded. And now, since that's a part of the simulation, we can start. That's just the initial state of the simulation. So like in Phoenix you had the load and start option. So here, for example, I can use an Inferno force and just use the built-in wind to just blow this Disney Cloud away. Let me just change the simulation settings a little. So I'm gonna decrease the vorticity like this. I'm gonna switch to PCG. And what else? I'm gonna lower the strength of the wind a little, something like this. Alright, so, and just, yeah, uncheck real time, uncheck whoop, and just let it play. Yeah, and also this can interact with other Zenith emitters, and you can just go wild with it. You can do other stuff. And just one other thing that I wanted to show you was that I'm gonna switch back to initialize new grids. I can disable the Inferno force. I will just switch back to loading VDB data. So I'm gonna browse again, and I'm gonna use those AmberGen caches right here. And yeah, if I play them, it's one of the files that one of the VDB sequences that they have uploaded on their site. Also, here in the temperature, I will use flames like this, and we will also get the flames from the explosion right here. And now I can also plug this as the initial state of the simulation right here. So I can browse to one of those frames, for example, like 76, maybe something like 35, and use that as an initial state. So I can use flames right here. And how is this gonna look? Let me refresh and play it. Hold on, I gotta just switch back to the RAM cache. And here it is. So it starts from this frame, so, and its temperature just generally cools off. It starts rising a little, so I gotta make some changes to the simulation. So first I'm gonna disable the cooling. Alright, and then I'm gonna also reduce the scale of the simulation like this. Right, so I can increase the vorticity again, and then just let it play out. So this cache doesn't contain velocity, so it just imprints the smoke and the temperature, and then it just starts rising. So if it had velocity, it would also start spreading like the original simulation did. So it's gonna look different because these are different solvers and they do different things with the actual simulation. And also I can also enable my wind force again and have it go like this. It can also interact with any obstacles, for example. So it's just the initial state of the simulation. So if I add an Inferno collider like this, I can place a box. Is this box gonna be interesting enough? Yeah, let's do something like that. Still pick the box as a collider. Don't just expect it to start colliding by wishfully thinking about it. And yeah, that's it. These are some of the interesting things that you can do by loading VDBs. So thanks guys for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye.